first things first. Any questions about anything? Any concerns? How you feeling? Excited? Scared? We have some questions. Good. That's good. Excited and confused. Okay, that's good. Feeling great. Good. Excellent. Website doesn't seem to be working properly. I'm excited. A bit worried about my credit card payment due next month. Right? Okay. I know this is real money that you've invested, but what I can say in reference to that is, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, the future will definitely give us opportunities to grow. Got my credit limit increased. Awesome. Congratulations. Good for you. Okay. Okay, well, so why don't we start with questions? So, what kind of questions do we have? Spotted a possible distressed house on my way home. Okay. Took pics. All right. You're looking at property. You want to know. Okay. No worries, Dylan. Can you go over how to fill in the form you sent us? Yes. What are all the one-time costs at time of buying? When should we incorporate? Okay, let's do this. First, let me say you don't need to incorporate right away a real estate company, but if you would like, you might consider setting up, the holding and the consulting. That's what I tell you if you want to set something up. The real estate companies, unless you have property, this one's not really something to set up with empty, but these two you could set up because the holding, to set up the holding and the consulting just for the setting it up for write-offs and stuff like that. But the best thing to do is to talk to accountants, lawyers if you have them. If you don't, I can send you some names. Give you some names of people that you can talk to about setting up your corporations. Okay, good. Tell you what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite my lawyer to talk to us. Not this week, not the coming week, because I think I'm going to bring on someone for REI Black Book to explain REI Black Book to everybody, how to use it. We'll do that next week. And the week after, I promise I'll bring my lawyer on in the coming weeks. Shouldn't be a problem. I just need to let him know. And he'll explain corporations. How would you like that? Would that be good? Yeah, great. I do bring on power team members. Yeah, I bring on power team members to talk about real estate. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be awesome, exciting, and you're going to learn a ton, okay? And remember, you're not competing against anybody. This is your pace. I would like you to have a goal of 1 to 2 properties in the next 12 months. That's the most important thing, that we do that right. And we execute properly, and speed will come later, okay? So let's do it right, then we'll do it fast. So for corporations, I don't think, unless you've been advised by an accountant, I don't think you need to set that up ASAP, okay? I think that that's something that we can do as we better understand our business and what we're trying to do, okay? Okay, so that's the question of... Yeah. A good accountant would be wonderful too. Your lawyer is going to set up the corpse though, definitely. So the question of the sheet, what I'm gonna do actually, if you don't mind, I know I sent you that sheet. It's relatively simple. I'm gonna talk about that sheet, but I'd like to send you, if you're up for it, something a little more in depth about evaluating property. Do you feel like you can handle that? Is that okay? It's not a big deal. I like to get really down into understanding how to evaluate property. The one I sent you was really simple, I was torn about it. I didn't want to overwhelm you, but I'd rather work from a more complex sheet, if that's okay. I'll show it to you today, and if you tell me you like it, and we'll work from it, and you feel like we can jump into that, I think it would be good to start with the more advanced sheet with you. Could you confirm the roles of lawyers and accountants in setting up a corporation? Sure. Lawyers are going to set up the corporations, register them, get your letters of incorporation and your minutes book. Accountants are going to do the accounting for these corporations, right? That's really the difference. So the creation is typically done by the lawyers. That makes sense? Okay. So let me do this. Let me do this for you. Good. Good. No problem. Okay. Let me do this for you. Let me share my screen, and I'll show you the more advanced sheet. Okay. And what I can do, someone sent me actually, I think it was Diane sent me, Diana, sorry, sent me her numbers. We can actually put them in this sheet. You want to do that, Diana? You want to put them in this sheet instead? We'll just do it together. Share my screen. Okay, good. All right, so this is what you're looking at is the preferred sheet that I like to use. The other ones, it doesn't do it enough for me, and this is something that's, as you can see, it's more complex. Yes, it seems like a lot there. Yes, anybody? Any of you overwhelmed? But it's super amazing and cool, and it tells you so much with very little information. Okay, but again, you can use the sheet. You can use the simpler one if you want. Okay, so here we go. So let's look at the numbers from the sheet that was sent to me by Diana. So Diana has a property with asking price is $570, purchase price is $547. If we go back to this one, so the asking price was $570. Okay, and this one has a repairs component. So if we have 0 repairs, we did nothing to it. The purchase price is going to be, what was it? 547. So 547, 47. Okay. So what it's going to do is 547 purchase price plus repairs, because there are no repairs. But if we put 10,000 in repairs, it would just add it to the purchase price plus repairs. The ARV is going to be, we can input the ARV, but the ARV is going to make the assumption, because the asking price was 570. But we can modify that. It's not a big deal. Then we have the monthly gross rent. So the monthly gross rent for hers was gross rent was $34,800. That was for the year. So we're going to divide that. Can you tell me, Diana, what your monthly gross rent is? $2,900. Okay. So we go 2,900, and it was, I believe it was 2 units, wasn't it? Yeah, 2 units. So we could change the units. The per unit is just going to divide it. Just divide it. So if I put 3 in here for units, it's going to change it to that. 2 units there. Okay, good. So now this is going to take this times 12. Okay, and then it takes away. That's your gross revenue, right? The gross revenue, just to see the change there. If I went 3,000, it would give us 36, right? Because it would multiply it by 12. So the gross revenue for the year is 34,800. Then we have vacancy maintenance and property management, which is 20%. Okay, 20%. That's going to take away 20% from this. That's 6,960. And then exact expenses are going to be actually in this expense tab. So you can put the expenses right here. You can put all the expenses here: taxes, insurance, water, and it'll automatically transfer it over for you. These we can also change, right? These are the vacancy, maintenance, and property management. It automatically calculates it. But we could put, if this was higher, the vacancy was higher, it'll make the math for us. If this was higher, say, and say this was higher, okay? So the idea really for this, and you can see that it automatically changed it on this sheet. So you can put the numbers over here, it'll automatically change the numbers over here, okay? So if you know the vacancy maintenance and property management is different than the standard 5-5-10, it's good to put those numbers in, right, percentages. And that's going to automatically do that. Now your insurance taxes, you're going to put the numbers in here. It'll give you the monthly breakdown per month, and then the number will be shifted over here. Okay, it'll tell you what the exact expenses are. Okay, otherwise it's going to use this default 25%. Okay, it's going to say that it's 25%. This is what the expenses are. Okay, everybody good with me so far? Okay, so the exact expense is good. The net operating income is 19,140. That's taking these two numbers away from here to give us that number. This number I don't want you to worry about. I'm going to take that out for now. That was something I was doing to show a different example, one that we don't need to worry about right now. Okay, so the gross rent multiplier is 16. The cap rate is 3.4. Our value is 191, and the cash flow per unit is 1,500, only because of the financing option that we have here, which we'll deal with. Okay, so we're going to talk about today. What do these mean? Gross rent multiplier, cap rate, R value, and cash flow per unit. Now remember, all we're putting in here is, I'll make that 0. All we're putting in here is the asking price and the purchase price and the gross rent, which we can pretty much get from most listings or information. The vacancy property management, unless we know otherwise, we should want it to be 20. And the exact expense, if we don't have it, will be 25. Otherwise, we'll put the numbers over here, and it'll populate over here. Okay. This whole side is about financing. Okay. So this is us getting a mortgage. So this is bank financing here. You can see it right here, bank financing. Seller financing, if we got the seller to financing it. Is it cutting out a lot for you guys? Are you guys having a problem hearing? Anybody having a problem hearing? I'm good. No. Good for me. No. Oh. So a little bit choppy. Okay. Let's try something. Hold on. Okay. Is that better for everybody? Can everybody still hear me okay? Okay, good. Okay. So if it gets choppy again, let me know, okay? Okay. All right, so bank financing, when we get into that, and that's the fun part really, we'll see how we can take a property that doesn't make much money or the return's not so good, and we can modify it to allow us to be able to do that. Here, on this side over here, you'll see goals, right? So the goals, the ROI, we'd like to see 10%, the actual 6 on this. The cash flow, we'd like to see 100 a door. 294 is what's showing now, but this isn't the complete story yet. Investment in the deal, 10% or less, it's at 20. So what it's telling us is we haven't hit these goals, right, based on what we're seeing, okay? This section here is what if I financed it with interest only, right? My loan was interest only, okay? So we're not going to get into this. This will come in the coming weeks, okay? What I really want to focus on is just looking at this property and what it was, profitability wise, where it is. Now, if I look over here, let me see. Oh, I took it out. Can you tell me, Diana, the financing? How much bank financing do you have on this property? What's the existing mortgage? What's left? Do you know? Diana, do you have? There you go. Awesome. What's the existing mortgage? I wiped it out of the other one. $50% of the purchase price. Okay. So if I go 50%, okay, It's 273 of the purchase price, okay? And then, so what we're going to do is, we're going to say, okay, if that's it, this needs to add up to 100, right? We want this to add up to 100. So I guess the out of pocket was 50%, is that right? I think that's what you had originally, right? 50% bank financing, 50% out of the pocket, right? So if we look at that, you'll see that this adds up to the purchase price, right? Purchase price. Okay, so we see that that's at 100%. Do you remember the mortgage amortization? What is the mortgage amortization? Is it a 25-year mortgage, a 30-year mortgage? What is it? 25. Okay, what was the interest rate? 2.67. So 2.67. I punched that in. Okay. So this will tell me that the monthly payment on this mortgage is $1,248. Okay. And I have no other financing. There's no seller financing. There's out of pocket. We put up half. When we come down here, we see that the year-over-year cash flow is $4,158. The monthly cash flow per unit is $173. Okay, so that's telling us that this property cash flows, which is good, right? It's over 100, right? So if we went over to, this thing over here, ROI on cash is at 2%, not so good, but the cash flow per unit, this one is still good. This is good. Investment on deal is above what we'd like to see. So the problem is in your cash flow on this particular deal. The problem is the return on investment is too low. It's 1.5. And can we improve this deal? We could improve this deal. But your real challenge is the cap rate is this number here. We talked about cap rate. And the cap rate is a little bit on the low side, 3.5. What that cap rate represents, Diana, is if you paid cash for this, $547,000, and you had no mortgage, so zero mortgage, you'd be getting 3.5% return on your money. Now, we talked about this. We'd like to see a higher return on investment. So the challenge with this property, is this something you already own, Diana? Okay, so I would say a couple options. We could look at this property. I think that, and I don't know your expenses, to tell you the truth. I don't know what these exact expenses are. This is just an assumption. We want that cap rate to possibly get higher. So maybe when you throw in your exact expenses, this will change. You're definitely cash flowing on the property, right? You're cash flowing. But the reason that the cash flow is where it is really is because you put up 50% of the money in the property, which if you're seeking cash flow, Diana, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. With that money you're putting in right now, you're making 1.5% return on that money. So it's a question of just trying to get that higher. Does that make sense, Diana? And the thing is that this sheet will help us better understand what we can do. I'll just give you a quick example. Let's say that you got more financing. So let's say you got 80 and 20, right? And if we look 80-20, if you did the conventional investing, you would actually had a negative cash flow. And your return would be negative 4.4. So I totally understand, why, or the push has raised his hand. Okay, give me 1 second. Got some hands raised. The thing here with this particular property is, and we'll learn this as we analyze properties, is you needed that 50%, which allowed you to cash flow. That's what's allowing you to cash flow right now. So for us to improve this property, we probably focus on reducing the expenses, right? I don't know what your exact expenses are, but reducing them, and either that and trying to get the maximum rent out of the property itself. Does anybody have any questions? I think I saw some hands raised. Diana, do you have any questions? Does that make sense what I'm sharing with you? Sure, I'm going to explain cap rate, sure. Just let me answer this one quick. Just Diana's typing, and I want everyone to understand this is what we do, right? We look at these. It's cutting out for me. I think it's my internet. Oh, okay. Is everyone still? Anybody having challenges with sound still? Maybe it's not Diana. Maybe it's something else. No. Good for me. Okay. Maybe it is Diana. Maybe. So minimal for me. Okay. A bit cut for me too. That's weird. I will have to watch it again later to hear your advice. Okay. So let me try something, folks. I want to try something to improve the sound. Okay. Okay. Is that better, Diana? Sound wise? Way better. Oh, that's great. Deeper? Yeah, so far, okay, good. Good. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was the speaker. I just switched speakers. Okay, good. Better, yes, for everybody? Or whoever was having problems? I want you to be able to definitely hear this. Okay. Oh, awesome. Beautiful. Okay, good. All right, so let's share my screen again. Okay. All right. So there we go. So let's go back over here to the sheet. What I was saying, Diana, is this property cash flows for you. You can see that it's going to cash flow for you, which is good. The challenge is the return is low, and we want to get that return higher. Higher to get to double digits. That's what we're looking for. So the area of opportunity would be to get the rents higher and or reduce our expenses. And again, I'm guessing your expenses. I'm just making the assumption it's 25%. It could be less. I really don't know. Once you input those numbers, this will be a much more accurate, return on investment and cash flow number. I have no volume. I will watch it again tomorrow. I have had trouble with volume with my new computer. Okay, I will call you. Okay, all right. Can you jump in with someone else? Yeah, maybe Lucy. All right, she can't hear me, so I don't know why I just said that. Okay, Lucy. Good. All right. Okay. So, Lucy, are you still there? Can you hear me at all? What you might try, if anybody's having problems with the sound or volume on their computer, you could try it on your phone. You can download Adobe on your phone and try that, maybe, Lucy. Let's see. Try your phone and connect that way. Okay. So I'm gonna hope Lucy gets that. If she doesn't, she can reach out to me for the video. So Lucy, I will send you a copy of meeting. Okay, I'll give that to all of you. But I usually hold those for 2 weeks just to download them and put them together for you. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go back over here and let's focus on Diana. Do you have any questions? Are you okay right now? We can continue to talk about this or any property that you folks want to look over. All you have to do is send it to me. We're not going to do that
That's tonight. Unless you want, you feel like you want to look at a property. I'd rather right now. I just want to explain to you what these numbers mean and why they're important to us. Okay. Sure. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. So, okay, good. So let's try it. First, we're going to go to gross rent multiplier. What does that mean? Well, gross rent multiplier shows 15.72. Gross rent multiplier takes the net operating income, sorry, the gross revenue, that's the gross revenue, 34.8, and it divides it into the purchase price. And it asks itself, how much am I paying for that revenue? How much am I paying for that revenue? So that's gross revenue, okay? Gross revenue. So GRM, gross rent multiplier, says if I take this gross rent, this yearly rent, which is this times 12, right? This 2,900 times 12, okay? If I multiply that 2,900, it gets me 34.8, okay? So this is kind of it's a cool number to know because it's easy to get. Someone tells you this house is for 550,000, and you know what I'll do for the sake of simplicity? Let's make everything just 100,000. It's just easier to look at, okay? Okay, so 100,000, 100,000. Okay, that's 10,000, so that's not going to work. Okay, so, and let's say that the rent is 1,000 a month, and it's 2 units, okay? Okay, so it's just simpler to look at. Okay, so gross rent multiplier, right? Gross rent multiplier says, okay, somebody says I have a house for 100,000 and the monthly rent's $1,000. So you say, okay, you multiply 1,000 by 12, that's 12,000, and you divide it into $100,000. And that's what gives you this multiple, 8.33. Okay, so 100,000 divided by 12,000, it goes in 8 times. 8 times, okay? So that tells you for you to get 12,000 in gross rents, it's going to cost you $100,000. Now this doesn't take account expenses or anything like that, but if your cap rate is really, sorry, your gross rent multiplier, this number here, is really high, the number's high, that's not a good thing because it's not enough money to make it profitable. So I'll give you an example. Let's say this was 500. Look where the gross rent multiplier is now. It's 16. 16, right? So a 16 gross rent multiplier, is extremely difficult. No problem, Lucy. It's extremely difficult to make it profitable. Does that make sense to everybody? So gross rent multiplier takes gross rent revenue for the year into purchase price, okay? And if the number's high, that's not good. We want the number close to 6, right? So around the 6 mark, okay? So this, we like this to be like this. This would be okay. You know, $1,000 a month on a $100,000 property. It's 8, it's not 6, but it's pretty good at 8, okay? Exactly. The reason I wouldn't say you're right. You're right. But the dilemma with that, saying it that way, is that's just gross rent. We haven't taken expenses in. But you're right. It's a quick way, a quick calculator to say, well, if I bought this, you know, in gross rent, how long would it take me to get the purchase price? Um, the bigger focus, and there's nothing wrong with saying it that way. The dilemma is that you don't know the actual expenses yet because you don't have that information. But it will tell you if the number's high, not good. There's just not enough money. If the number's low, that's better. So I would say that, you know, a 10 gross rent multiplier, 10 you can work with, maybe a 12 if you really understand creative financing, which we'll get there, I promise you. But really, you want that number to be lower than higher. Well, yeah, I mean, if the market will let you, if the market said, okay, you can go 1,200, well, that's even better. I mean, the number goes down to 6.94. What if you got it for 90? Same thing. If we got it for 90,000, right? The number's going to improve, right? If this was 1,000, right? The number's going to improve, right? The number went from 8.33, I believe, to 7.5, right? So if you renovate it nicely, can you charge 2,000? Well, the market's going to tell you that. You can't make you know, even if you made it a penthouse in an area where the rents are $1,000, you're not going to be able to charge $5,000 a month because it's so much better than everyone else. You got to recognize the neighborhood that it's in, right? Yeah, there's a maximum. Same with rehab. You can't fix a house up, put $1 million into a neighborhood that sells houses for 200 and expect to get a million, you know, $1,500,000. It won't happen. So, you know, with gross rent multiplier, the big advantage is that, sorry, my GRM is almost 17. Got to work this math. Yeah. Yeah. Your GRM, if your GRM is high, that's, yeah, we don't want that to be high. We want it to be low. The cool thing is if someone gives you the price of a house and the gross rent, so even the monthly rent, because you can multiply it by 12, you can quickly know if a property is worth looking at or not. That's how cool gross rent multiplier is. If you get a gross rent multiplier of 20, it's not worth looking at. What's the ideal GRM? So we put 6 here, so 6 or less right here. See, gross rent multiplier 6 or less. So it's not a huge, you know, if it's higher than 6, it's okay. We can work with that. But 6 is kind of the number. You know, if you see a 6, you're talking about a good deal. If you see even a 7.5, you know, a 7, those are good deals. We want to pursue them immediately. But if the gross rent multiplier is high, then what we can do is, so if we go that this was 500, right? This gross rent multiplier, you know, 15 and higher, we could immediately pass on, not even worry about looking at, because the GRM is too high to make it make money. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? And we're talking about, so remember, right? This sheet's supposed to help us quickly evaluate property. So if you just have gross income, if you have the monthly rent and the asking price, this will tell you real fast if it's worth looking at. It's amazing that way. You know, there's some huge advantages for time using a tool like this. Now let's talk about, okay, wait, before I go past GRM, is everyone clear on GRM? Does anybody have any questions about GRM? It's okay. This is the place I want you to ask. Clear, good. How is it calculated? So we'll do it again, no worries. So gross rent and purchase price, okay? So what it's doing is it's taking gross rent and dividing, the purchase price by gross rent. That's all it is. So gross rent, purchase price, and it's dividing it. That's all. So 90,000 divided by 6, that gets us to 15 GRM. That's right, purchase price divided by gross rent. Okay, good. It's okay to tell, and I'll say this to everybody. This took me a few times before I was clear on all this stuff, so don't feel like you got to understand this completely. I'm going to go over this so many times, over and over again, and we'll be analyzing properties through it. You'll pick it up relatively quickly over the next, you know, few months. So don't feel like you have to understand all this stuff right away. That's less likely. More likely we just need to repeat it, right? Okay. So then we go to cap rate. So cap rate is purchase price, net operating income, right? So net, it's income divided by investment, right? So the cap rate, cap rate. So if we look at cap rate, 90,000 purchase price, gets divided by this number, the net operating income. Okay, let me use some colors here. So this one, so net operating income 3,300, right, divided by purchase price. Okay, there's no financing involved in this one yet. Okay, so purchase price is 90,000, and the net operating income, so this is after my expenses, is 3,300 bucks. Okay, so let's go back to the original example, which was 1,000 for rent and 100,000 for the property. Okay, so here we see a vacancy maintenance property management is 2,400. That's 20% of this. and then exact expense is 25%. We're just putting that in for now. This says that if I take the expenses off, I get to keep $6,600 at the end of the year. Okay, so this is gross rent for the year. These are expenses for the year. I get $6,600. That's if I paid cash. So if I pay $100,000 cash, I will get $6,600 a year from that investment of $100,000. Okay, cap rate represents return on investment if I paid cash for the house. Now, do we want to pay cash for our houses? Is that something we want to do? Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. But what cap rate tells you, cap rate says, look, when you do your math, you know, and you find out that your cap rate is, say, 6,600, right? Your cap rate is 6.6. You have to now consider, is this enough to cover financing? Because I want to have financing because that's going to increase my return on investment. But if cap rate's too low, then you're not going to be able to afford to get a mortgage, right? It won't make sense for you. So let me give you an example. So if I go to $500 a month, the cap rate becomes 3.3%. Well, how am I going to finance this property at even 2.6% if I'm only getting 3.3% when I own it? I've paid complete cash for this property, and all I'm making is a 3.3% return. So if this cap rate is low, there's no room for financing. Does everyone understand where I'm coming from for this? There's no room, right? So again, we're looking at how much do we get to keep after expenses divided by purchase price. That's what cap rate is. How much do I get to keep after, if I paid cash for this property, how much would I get to keep? 3,300. 3,300 divided by, so income divided by investment, that's going to give me the 3.3, okay, percent, okay? So let's go back to 1,000. Now cap rate we'd like to see at 10. We'd like to see at 10. So let's see, if I had 1,100, not quite there, 1,300, that's even better. Let's go 1,500. So 1,500 would give me a cap rate of 9.9. Okay, 9.9. But remember, expenses are the ones determining, how much of this 18,000 that I keep from the rents, right? So that's my gross revenue. That's how much money I'm bringing in from rents. How much do I get to keep? Well, that's going to be based on what my expenses are. So if my expenses are 20 and 25% of my gross revenue, I get to keep 9,900. Now let me show you a little trick that they like to do when they list properties. So let's go back to the 1,000. Okay. So when you look at this property, it's 100,000, and actually, let's say it's $750 a month. Okay. So when you look at this property, it's 100,000. The rent's 750, and let's say doesn't matter, but let's say it's one unit, and you look at it, and they show it to you, and you're like, okay, I mean, this doesn't look too bad, right? I mean, I should make a little bit of money, but when you start doing the math on this, and let's go back to the 80-20, right? These are financing, okay? So when you look at it, it looks like, okay, this doesn't look too bad, right? The cap rate's 5.5, which is low, but what they do to make this cap rate look higher on this property, because right now, as it sits, it's not very good. Look at the monthly cash flow. It's $50 for the one unit, because it's only one unit now, so we're making $50 in cash flow, and then return on our investment, putting up 20% is 2.8%. Not very good. So what they'll do is they'll tell you or not include vacancy. So they'll say, oh, this, the vacancy number won't be there, and the management number won't be there, and maybe they say there is maintenance, but it's only 2%. Okay. So what happens is when you come over here, all of a sudden the number looks a lot better, right? Because the vacancy and maintenance property management, which should be 20, is only 2% of your cost, right? So all of a sudden you look at the property and it's like, oh, look at this, my monthly cash flow is, $182. This doesn't look too bad. And look at the return. The return is 10%. Everybody follow what I'm saying? So it looks like it's a better property. It looks great. This property looks great now. Wow, this is amazing. I got to jump on this property. The reality is there is vacancy on your properties. There is maintenance on your properties. You want to be real when you get these properties. You want to make sure that you're including all that could happen in this investment. And when you don't do that, you buy this property, you think, oh, I'm in good shape. I'm making $182 a month. Just move that back. $182 a month. You buy the property, and all of a sudden, vacancies at 5. Maintenance is at 5, and you can't manage the property properly, and it's 10. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, now I'm making $50 a month, and my return is 2.8. We don't want to figure that out after the fact. We want to know that ahead of time. Does that make sense to everybody? That's why it's so important to do due diligence. We want to make sure it's right. When you do it right, oh good, oh awesome, Lucy. When you do this right, this game is awesome. It's great. You're printing money, it feels like sometimes. But when it's wrong, it's typically really bad. So we want to make sure we do the right things. And it's not hard to do the right things when you know them, right? So again, cap rate is important to us. Let's go back to the original example. So cap rate's important to us. We have, let's go 2 units. Each unit's giving me $500. I'm bringing in 1,000. I look here, and my cap rate is 6.6%. Our value. Let's see. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so 6,000. I'll get into. Our cash flow per unit, if we paid cash, was $550. And when we put the 80-20 down, 80% bank, 20% down payment, I'd say the 2.6 will stay with that. We're at 11%, and we're 92 a month. Now 92 a month's a little bit on the low side, yes? So can you send us the sheet? I want to play around with it. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Let me explain it first, okay? Because if I send it to you now, you won't you won't pay attention to me explaining it. Believe me. So I promise to send it to everybody at the end of this, okay? Is that good with everybody? You're gonna get it. You're gonna get to play around with it, and we'll talk about it next week. Okay? Yeah, no problem. No problem. This is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. I have so much I want to give you. Contracts and agreements and evaluations. I mean, you're gonna love it. But it's step by step, okay? Step by step. Let's take it step by step and understand. Lots to learn. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. So does everyone understand cap rate? So cap rate, we like it to be higher, not lower like gross rent multiplier. We want it to be higher. So 10 is great. 6.6 we can work with. We can make 6.6 work. But if this gets too low, so if it gets too low, a 3.3 cap rate is extremely. You can't make it give you a decent return and cash flow, as you can see. It's negative $50 and negative 5.54% if you put up 20%. So we want to see our cap rates a little bit higher than this. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? How can you make it 20%? That'd be real tough. Oh, you mean the cap rate or the return 20%? The return we can make 20%. The cap rate, the cap rate's the cap rate. I can get the cap rate up if I reduce the price or I reduce the expenses. Does that make sense to everybody? So if the cap rate was, let's go back to 1,000. Okay. So if I make this higher, the cap rate, if I make the rent higher, that's going to increase my cap rate. You see it's 9.9. Or I reduce the price. So let's say it's 50,000, I can get this house. There's your cap rate at 20, right? But I had to get the price for half price, and I had to have the rent at 1,500. That's really unlikely. So the return I can get to 20 though. We can get to 20 with the return. But I don't know if you're ready to see that kind of stuff right now, because now it would be in the financing area. So let me show you. I'll show you real quick, okay? But I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But I can show you how we can get that return higher, okay? So when you right now we're sitting at 11.1%. Now because this cash flow is at $92, we pretty much. I would want to actually look at putting more money in this property. to get that cash flow up to 100, because I want to get this cash flow to 100 and this no lower than 10. So in this case, I might say 25, right? So when I go 25, it didn't increase the cash flow enough, and the return went down. So this is me putting, well, wait, I gotta go to 75. Apologies. So there you go. See what I did? I got the cash flow up, and I got the return at 10. Everybody see that? How did I do that? I put 5% more down in the property. That's what got me to monthly cash flow of 103 and the cash on cash return of 10. Did everybody catch that? So it was originally 80 and 20, okay? When I came down here and I looked at my numbers, I saw, oh, I'm only making $92 a month. I'd like to make 100, but I know I can't go less than 10%. I don't want this number to be less than 10%, sitting at 11.1. So there's a little room. So what I can do, the easy fix would be to put more money in, right? Now the other thing I would like to do though, let's go 25. What I'd really like to do, and you can see that we made $103 and 10% return. This is okay, but remember, one of the things we like to do is we like to put in, right, in the deal, 10% or less is what we like to do, right? We don't like to put up 25%. But there are ways, and wait till we get into this. You're going to love this so much. When we get into this area, it's going to blow your mind, because you can once you understand creative financing, you can make average property great, not so good property good, and a great property amazing by understanding creative financing. Does that make sense? 10%, does 10% make a problem if a recession comes? Do you mean 10% return? Is that what you mean, Diana? 10% return? $10 down on the house. Does 10%? No, actually, the lower this is, the out of pocket, the better for us. So what we typically like to see is something that looks like this: 80, 10, and 10. That's a nice setup. So if there's a recession, the fact that you only put 10% in, that won't be a problem for you. Do you mean if the value of the property goes down? Is that what you mean? The rent goes down. Well, actually, in a recession, we usually see the rents go up or stabilize. And the reason is when the economy goes down, slows down, people who would have bought houses, Diana, they don't buy houses anymore. They rent because of jobs and stuff. They can't get the mortgages. So it ends up being more people renting. And your quality of renter goes up. So it's okay that the economy goes down. You can actually see your cash flow go up. So you want to get as much funding as possible with minimal out of pocket. Yes, you do. But again, you can't, having zero money in a property that doesn't make money is not a good deal. You see what I'm saying? Diane, does that answer your question? Awesome. And okay, great. And does that answer your question about putting the minimal out of your pocket? I agree with you 100%. You want to put a small amount. Yeah. But you don't want it to be negative cash flow, right? So here's an example. We put in 10 from seller finance and 10 out of pocket. Now the 10,000 that I borrowed is a 30-year mortgage at 10%. Okay, that'll cost me $86 a month. If I come down here, my monthly cash flow is $50 and my return is 11.8. Well, the 11.8 is awesome. I've only put 10% down, but then I have a cash flow problem. It's only $50. So that's not going to work. We need to find another way to make this work. There are some ways we could do it. Okay, to give you an example, I could maybe get the loan for 5%. Okay, that will help. That's a monthly cash flow of $65. I can maybe get a longer mortgage with my lender, right? That'll help. I'm at $70. Maybe I can get a 30-year mortgage with my lender. Oh, we're almost there. We're at $91, right? We're at $91 per unit, right? maybe I can ask my lender to take 3%. Will that get me there? Well, it's almost there. You see that? You see what we did? By playing with these numbers, we got these numbers to improve. And the point of that exercise is to make sure that you know what you have to do to make this a good deal. And if you can't make it a good deal, then don't even waste your time. Does that make sense? So when we get into the creative financing, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that, and figuring out how do we do this? How do we get this not so good deal to work? And there's so many ways to do it when you understand it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Do you ever equalize property to average rents above 10% cap rate? Do you ever equalize properties to average rents above 10% of cap? What do you mean equalize properties? How do you mean by that, Maureen? Do you mean like a kind of rule of thumb for rents versus costs? Is that what you mean? Can the amortization period be finite? Put them together. Put them together. I'm sorry, Maureen, I'm not getting it. The amortization period of infinite would be interest only, right? Just going back to your question. Yeah, infinite, if you had a 100-year mortgage, it'd basically be interest only. So an infinite mortgage would be an interest only mortgage. Maureen, what do you mean? Can you expand on that a little bit for me? And I'd love to answer this question. Do you ever equalize properties to average rents above 10% cap? Do you mean a series of properties? Like more than one property? So some of my properties would be a higher cap rate, some lower, and I would put them together. Oh, I would say as a rule, Maureen, you really don't want to do that. I think you want every property to stand on its own, because in the future we don't know what we're going to keep. Because it might be a good time to sell one and we're left with the other. I see where you're coming from. I think I understand what you're asking me. I would say that we would want each particular property to kind of stand on its own, with those metrics. Does that make sense? Okay, good, excellent. What is the lowest rate you can get from a B lender? Lowest interest rate? Is that what you mean, Patrick? Oh, that's up to the lenders. You're gonna pay a little bit more for a B lender than a lender, but for some of them it's not much. Maybe 1% more, 2% more, depending on what it is, what kind of property it is. It's not huge. The big thing with what we want to do is we just want to be accurate. So Patrick, if we were using a B lender, as long as we know, you're paying 4.6, okay. As long as we know the numbers, then we can work out if we can make it work. So if the B lender is the best that we can do with this particular property at this time, and they're charging us 4.6, then we use 4.6. The bigger thing is to make sure that your numbers are accurate. You know what I mean? Whether they're high or low, the market's going to determine that for us. We don't have a lot of control on what interest rate they're offering, but we want to be accurate when we do use those numbers. That's the big thing we want to do. So we don't, create this fantasy of this property being great and find out later it's not a good property. How do we find out the market value of a house? So with that, it's really, realtors are I would say the easiest and best initially. You can call a realtor and ask for comparables, and they will do that. They will do that for you. Does that answer your question? Everybody good? I just want to go to how did we come up with our value? Okay, good. So everyone understands cap rate now, yes? No, it doesn't really matter how many realtors you work with, Lucy, but I would say I wouldn't want too many realtors to compete with each other for your business. I think it would be tough for them. You can have a couple different realtors, I think is okay, but you don't really want to create, in my view, animosity on your team. You want them all to feel valued, and that you're working with them to improve their business too. Okay, but really that's up to you. Okay, So let's go to our value. How did we come up with this value of 66,000? So you see the purchase price is right now 100,000. Where did this 66,000? Because that's us saying this property is really worth to us 66,000. And the reason is because the property is based on the cap rate of 10. We want a 10 cap rate. So what it says is, hey, if this property only produces $6,600 a year, then for us, we're only willing to pay, we'd like to pay 66,000, 10 times the net operating income. That's where that number comes from. So 10 times the net operating income of your will give us the property value. Does that make sense to everybody? So our value of the property is 66,000. So net operating income times 10, right, is going to give us 66,000. So the net operating income is 6,600. That's how we get 66,000. So does everybody see that? That makes sense? Now, why would we do that? Why would we do that? Well, the reason is because the property at 66,000. So you see, so if we got it for 66,000, magically, the cap rate is at 10. You see that? So if we got this property for 66,000, the cap rate would be 10. The gross rent multiplier is 5.5. It's below 6. Everything is beautiful. The numbers are great. You look at this, come down, look at this, $157 per unit. The return on investment is 57%. That's with us putting 10% in. And I'll just give you more realistic numbers. Go 30 and 10. So you're us paying 10% on a 30-year mortgage. Look at this property. We're still making 140 and 50% return on the property. Everybody see that? So when these numbers are right and we add creative financing to it, this thing, it's rock and roll. I mean, it's amazing. Imagine making 50% return on your money. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Okay? Does everyone understand our value, how we get our value? Any questions about that? So our value is the price we want to buy it for. Yeah, we'd like to buy it for that, Diana, but we don't need to buy it for that. We don't need to buy it. You don't need to get it for 66,000. But 66,000 would be the perfect price for this property. Does that make sense? So we don't have to necessarily get it for 66, but the closer to 66, the better it looks to us. We could still make it work at 100,000. What I'd like you to focus on is, if the asking price is 100,000, for us to get it at 90 or even 95, right? 90 would be improved. Let's go with 90, 10% discount. We'd rather, give the seller close to their price with a little discount, money in the buy, and let our creative financing and our knowledge make this a good property. So, if we got a 10% discount on this property, which is realistic and possible, and we did our numbers, look, our cash flow is $91 and our cash on return is 24.3. Now, if I looked at this property, I'd say, well, I got to do something because that $91 is not enough. So could I maybe change this to 8? What would happen? Oh, I need maybe 7. Okay, so there you go. So this tells me that if I want to get a private lender, the maximum I can charge, they can charge me is 7%. Does everybody see that? The maximum I can pay my private lender is 7%. That's what it's telling you. So it's telling you the limits of what you can do, so you don't walk into a deal and not know what you can actually tell a lender. Because if you have a friend that wants to invest with you and they say, oh yeah, I'll lend you some money, and they say, oh, I'm going to charge you 12%, that's not going to work for you. 12% is not going to work for you. You see? So we'd say, well, 7 is what I can do on this property, as an example. Does that make sense to everybody? This will really help us understand the limits, of what we can do. This is an excellent tool. There's a lot going on here, and I get that. But I promise you, after practicing this week in, week out, it'll blow your mind. Yeah, it'll blow your mind what you can figure out. Okay, monthly cash flow. Let's do this last one. Monthly cash flow is $5,500. $5,500 is the monthly cash flow. and that's 550. My apologies. And that's assuming that we pay cash. So if we pay cash for this house, we make $550 cash flow. The problem is the return is only 7.3. That's not good enough. We need to get a 10 or higher return. So this is why we need financing. We need financing because we need the return to be higher. And you can see by us putting 10%, getting 80 from the bank, 10% from seller financing, 10% out of our own pocket, we've achieved a higher than 10% return on this property. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So cash flow per unit on this side is just if we paid cash. That's if we paid cash. Okay. All right. How's everybody feeling? Great. Good. 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 Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send everybody. Everybody's going to get this sheet. So stay online here. I'm going to give everybody this sheet. You can play around with the sheet. Try to break it if you want. It's okay. What I suggest is that you save a copy. Immediately make 2 copies. One you play around with and one you keep for a backup. What I'll do from time to time is I will make updates to this sheet. And as I make updates to this sheet, I'll give you a new sheet for you to use, okay? So, as an example, this isn't active yet, but at some point, you'll be able to change the top here to what it is, a fix and flip, and this sheet will change and modify to meet what your need for the particular type of property you're doing. This is not active yet, okay? Yeah, I'm working on it, definitely. I want to make it as easy as possible for you, okay? So, we'll work on that. We'll work on that as soon as this gets updated. I'll let you know, okay? So let's do this. Let me save this, okay? And let's go back to here. Well, let me ask, is there any other questions about the sheet? Any questions about the sheet? I'm ready to send it to everybody, give you a chance to look at it. Nobody leave yet because you're going to be able to download it from here. Oh, good, good. We're all good? Good, good, good. All right, good. All right. So let's do this. Let's go back to stop sharing here. All right. So what I'm going to do, is I'm going to, let me do this. Some other sheets I'd like you to use. Okay, so here, I'm going to upload this sheet. Hold on one second. Right? Yep. Okay. So these sheets that you see right here, my apologies, these ones here, all you have to do, folks, these are just some extra ones here, is just click on them and you can download them right now. Go ahead and do that now. Oops. Sorry. So you can download, no, you don't want that one. You're not ready for that one yet. Let me see. One second. Not being very nice. Okay, hold on one sec. Sorry about that. Just don't want you to. Don't worry about this one. This is a financing one. You're not ready for that just yet. You're not ready for this one. This is terms and conditions. Okay. I promise I'll get you all these. I'm going to close this one too. Not ready for those yet. This one you're going to leave alone for a sec. And where's my other one? There it is. It was hiding. Nope. Can't have that one. You're not ready for it, I promise. Here, I'm going to hide that one. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let me hide. There we go. This one is the one I want you to use. Okay. This one I'm gonna hide. You don't need it right now. It's too complicated. Well, it's not. You're not ready for it. I promise I'll give you all these things. Okay. I just don't wanna. I want you to get it as you can digest it. Okay. Is that okay? No more. I'll get them all to you. I promise. I promise. Little by little, though. Little by little, okay? I wanna make sure you enjoy this experience. So everyone, when you download these, make sure you open them, okay? Now, if you're on your phone, you won't be able to get them. Who's on their phone? I know Lucy's on her phone. Who else is on their phone? Anybody else? Okay, so me. Okay. Anybody who's on their phone, send me an email right now and ask me for those files. You're downloading all of them. You can download all of these. So you can download them. You just click on it, hit download, and boom, you can get them. Okay? Anybody who's on their phone, you can send me an email right now and say, Sam, can you send me these files? And you should have them a little later tonight. I just have to put those files together for you in an email. But just send me an email and say, Sam, can you send me those files? Okay? Remember to use that you're the Toronto group, September 2019. Remember that? We're downloading. You got them all, right? Okay. Got it. Good. So once you got them and you've opened them, you can see them. Okay. These are just some documents. Stuff for you to read. I will give you the deeper stuff as we go along. Okay. This is just stuff that you can read up on. Just give you some reading material. The big thing is this one, right? The 104.6 key indicator here, meeting 95. Okay. This one is the one that the sheet that we were just looking at. Okay. So once you have them, let me know that you have them, okay? So, Lewis, you have them? No. Who said they had one? Let's see. Yeah, Lewis has got it. Good. Good. Henry, you're good. Got it. Good, good. Good. Good, good. Okay. Excellent. So, folks, next Tuesday, same time. We're meeting again, same time, okay? 9:30. 9:30. Okay? 9:30. Okay. Everybody, okay, so we got a little bit long. My apologies. It's 10:38. Um, oh, no worries. My pleasure. This is just the beginning, folks. We're gonna rock and roll. I think 9:30 was better for everybody. 9:30. I wouldn't mind it earlier. Well, let's do this. For now, let's stay at 9:30 for the next meeting, and we'll see if we can push that time down, okay? How's that? One more meeting at 9:30, okay? And then we can talk about it. Good, Kurt? Okay, is that good? Everybody can do 9:30? Okay, my pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, so this is what you do. This is what you do. Once you have the file, say thank you and good night, and just pop off so I know you have the file, okay? And I'll see you next week. If you need anything before then, you can reach out to me, okay? If you send me the email, just say, Sam, I sent you the email. I'm good. Have a good night. And you can pop off, okay? So then I can see that everybody's getting, okay, good. All right? I downloaded it on my computer. The phone reception is poor. Thank you so much, Sam, Lucy. No worries. Excellent. Good. Vanessa, good. Good. Rod, good. Enrique, good. We get the recording too. Recording will be next week, okay? Diana, I promise I'll get you the recording next week. Maureen, good. Awesome. Henry, no problem. My pleasure. Kurt, you're good. Good. Don sent you the email. Good. Juan, thank you. No worries, my friend. Glad you guys all made it. Jason, good. Excellent. Don, thank you. Good. Excellent. Okay. So once you get it and you're good, you can pop off. I'll see you all next week. Okay. Patrick, excellent. Good. You're good. Diana, good. Excellent. Good. 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 I think I'm all good. All right, Rob. If you need anything, you let me know. Okay. My pleasure, Lewis. Awesome. Good, good, good. Looks like everybody's moving along. Good. Rob, good. Excellent. Okay. It's like, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Diana, you still on? You were good. Let me see. Okay. And okay. So Diana will get 42. It's my first half. No worries. No worries. Okay. So good. I just want to make sure you were good. Okay. So once everybody's good, once you're good and you have the files and you've opened them, you can pop off, and then I know you're good. And I'll see you all next Tuesday. Okay. 9:30. Rob, good. Good stuff, Rob. Excellent. So Rob, you're good. So again, once you have the files and you're good, you can just jump off. We'll see you next week, okay? If you need anything before then, you can reach out to me. Okay, that's good. Okay, Lucy. Good night, everyone. Good night, Lucy. Excellent. I'm not leaving. I'm just going to wait to make sure everybody gets the files, okay? So Lucy's good. Excellent. Lewis, a bit later for the files. I will send you an email. Good. Lewis, do that today. Make sure sooner the better, okay? Just so you get them. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Excellent. All right, Lewis, have a great night. Okay. So, I have a few of you still on. Does anybody need more time to get the files? Anybody need more time? Sorry, I'm on my phone. No worries. Don't even worry about it. It's a little difficult. No worries. When you get a chance, send the email. Okay. Don't worry about it. You'll get the files sometime later tonight. Okay. So for the folks that are still on, if you're good, you're good. Can you type in yes for me? Y or yes, so I know you got the files. And you're good. Sorry, I missed your response. Will you be sending the recording? Yeah, Diana, next week, the recording, you'll get the access to the recording, okay? So next week, I'll give you the link to do that, okay? Awesome. Great. Have a great night. And we'll see you next week. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Dylan, you still on? Okay, so I have Dylan still. Looks like Lucy is good. Dylan, you still on, my friend? You just might be in the room. That's good. Okay. And I still have, looks like Lucy's still showing in there in the room. Lucy, Dylan, you still in the room? Okay, I'm going to assume that you guys are not in the room because no response. If you are, have a great night. If you need anything before next week, we'll see you next week. Have a great night, folks, and looking forward